And so without further ado, let's get into Make Human. Now, once you open Make Human, you will see this as your default mesh. We are just going to dress our character first. Let's just say that it carries a bit of a priority. Since we're going for a tennis look, we are going to be using the female elegant suit, and we're going to change the materials and a few other things to make it work for us, for the most part. Let's make it all the way to female. Let's take the age down just a little bit. You can monitor the age and other stuff here at the bottom. Let's take the age down to be approximately high school age, maybe about 19. Let's give a little bit more muscle, as people who do sports have a little bit of muscle. A little bit less weight because she's supposed to be agile as a tennis player. Going to give a little bit more proportion, mostly Caucasian and a little bit African, just to get that little bit of a brown skin tone, and that should give us a fairly good result so far. Yeah, that's good. Okay, if you want to, you can change extra features such as breast size and hand sizes and leg sizes and all that kind of stuff. But we are definitely going to be adding hair. We're going for a ponytail. It's the most practical for playing sports. And we are also going to use the low poly eyes, otherwise the texturing does not function correctly for this. We're going to give her a basic set of teeth, which we will be editing in Blender. Topologies we'll leave alone. Eyebrows, give it the default because we're using the mesh, not the texture. And eyelashes, I don't use these at all, so let's just skip them. Tongue, absolutely. Okay, now let's start editing the face to fit what we need. Now obviously the eyes are going to have to be massive, so we will be starting with those. Let's go with the eyes. Eyes. Go with the right eye first. Scale that up. Scale that way up. And increase that just a little bit. Okay, let's make that symmetrical. Okay, that looks good. Let's just move it down a bit. Flip that over. And up this corner slightly. About there. Excellent. Let's look at the nose quickly. We want it longer on a vertical scale, a little bit. Narrower horizontally. We'll increase this in a second. About there. Depth is fine. Let's go for features. We want the width slightly more. About there. We want the width of the point to be fairly narrow. And then of course we want that little bit of a point. So let's just give her a little bit of a point there. There we go. That looks good. Let's just reduce it a little bit. There, okay. Now let's quickly adjust the mouth. It needs to be fairly small horizontally and vertically. So let's reduce that. Approximately there. A little bit more. About there. That should do it. Okay. We'll change this little pointy tip in Blender so that it's nice and rounded. You can choose to keep it there. Some cartoons have them, some don't. It's fine. Let's quickly adjust the head. We want it to be inverted triangular. This one. Not all the way, we'll adjust the finer parts in Blender. We don't want this swelling out too much. Let's just give her a little bit of a thicker base to just make the hair look thicker. That looks good. Scroll back, and that's good. That's a good overall character. See if we can just adjust the eyebrows a little bit. A little bit down and a little bit higher. It doesn't really adjust much. It's more the forehead it switches. Okay, the rest absolutely fine. We're not adding shoes because in this unstable release of Make Human, the shoes don't export. So what we get here is what we get here. So let's just give her something I wanted to. Oh, here we go. A little bit of a rig. The default works well, so let's use the default. Okay, now we can save it. Let's call it tennis girl and save. It's going to ask to overwrite. The answer is yes. We're going to export it with the same name using the Collada mesh format, not mesh. And these you just leave alone and just click export. Awesome. Now we can go into Blender. Okay, now in Blender you go File, Import, Collada. You go to your exports. You click on Tennis Girl or whatever else you named your character. As you can see, I already have a default that I use in terms of my own Blender preferences. So, as I don't have screencast keys for some reason, I expect that you would know your basics around the interface. So I'm definitely not going to be explaining to you every single key press that I make. Okay, that's good. Let's remove that. X has to be 0, Y has to be, let's just make it -1 for now, and increase Z so that it is directly face on. Now let's go into our world settings. So you can see I already have a default sky prepared. You can just turn on your environment lighting, leave it on white, just a small value like 0.25. The distance attenuation has to be 0 and the samples have to be 0, otherwise you get smooth shading and you don't want that on toons. Plain and simple. Okay, since we already have a sun in, I am going to show you what she looks like in the default project. Frightening. Yes. So let's just not use that. Let's change the default skin, switch to toon, take the smooth down, increase the size, just so that these lines intersect over here. Turn that up, the intensity. I'm not going to need specularity at all, we're using a two-tone. Add a little bit of translucency if you want to. Now here's the important part. Full oversampling makes this material smooth. If you don't have full oversampling, it will be jagged. No matter what your anti-aliasing is, it will be jagged. So use full oversampling. I make the pass index 5 for the sake of separating the toon shaded from the painted background. And I say receive transparent and I take off auto revise again to reduce the softness of the shadow. If you leave this on, it will have smooth shadows. Let me show you. Look at these edges. You see that? All that gradient has to go away. So if you turn that off and you render again, perfectly smooth. See? No softness, no nothing. It's awesome. What we do need to do is reduce the amount of brightness. So if you do that, this is so weird. I didn't have this problem before when I did the run through of the tutorial at all. Just reduce the saturation and decrease the value. That should fix it. That's close enough. Let's work with this for now. Okay, great. Now we have a base material that we can use for everything else. So let's call this skin and copy and put it over there. Take that out, name it skin, duplicate it, let's name it hair. Now you can simply change the color. I'm going for a slightly blondish color, a little too canary yellow there, let's soften it up. Okay, good. Specularity stays off. Here we do add a texture though. Let's call it light band. Go select a blend texture, make it vertical. No, not vertical, has to be horizontal, sorry. And make this constant. Then we need another one over there. Has to be fairly high up. This has to be on reflection. The map coordinates. Color has to be reduced to like 0.45 or 0.3. Set it to add on the blend type, and if you render now, you will see that the band is in the hair. Wonderful. Okay, now quickly let's change the shirt and the skirt. So let's choose not hair, we're going to be choosing skin, and we're calling this outfit white. Tennis outfits are typically white. So let's, oh, wrong one. There we go. And just let's add another one, just so we can just add a little bit of a highlight. I prefer red. You can use whatever you prefer. That looks great. Let's do that just above the skirt line at the bottom. Let's give this one a red, and of course this one. Sign, let's make it red. That looks awesome. Let's just close this up so that she does not embarrass herself, but also does not cook out in her outfit, because it's definitely not the easiest game to play. Speaking from experience, very limited, but still experience. Just take that inside, tuck that inside, and stuck that inside too. Choose Y and just close up a little bit. We don't want this to be obscene. She has to have some modesty. I mean, oh, come on. Overall, this kind of process really does not take long if you're used to doing it. Initially, it took me a little bit longer, but you really get used to the process. It gets easier as you go. The more you do. That's a better way of phrasing it. Okay, wonderful. Let's just quickly fix this corner over here. Excellent. I know the color is also a bit of an issue, but we'll check that out later. Okay, now we have some skin, we have the other stuff. Okay, let's just quickly fix the eyebrows. Just apply the hair material for now. And let's get to the eyes. As you can see, they're mapped in a diagonal manner. This means our textures are going to have to go in the same way. So let's add a new blend texture. Color ramp constant. Okay, the first one is going to be the inside of the eye, or the iris. I think it's called the iris. I'm really not sure. This is going to be the black outline of the eye. And then of course we also need a white part of the eye. That has to be opaque. So let's do that. Okay, now by default from practice I know that this is going to be minus 0.4 and minus 0.4. If we go into a render state, there we go. See? And this has to be 1.25. Let's make this 1.41. That's excellent. Okay, let's make it solid. We want the same thing to be duplicated, so let's call this I.000 and go I0001. 001, okay. And this one has to be on the positive side, 0.41 and 0.4. And the color again, now we simply just need to color the eyes using a linear texture. Oh, sorry, we need to just change the mapping here to 1.25. So it's just to make it more oval shaped. Okay. Let's call that eye color. Blend. Okay. This one needs to be at about 0.5. And we need this one over here to be pitch black and opaque. And we need another one that's pitch black on this side, which is also got to be opaque. Set this to ease, move that over. And we need one that is going to be color over here. So let's make this alpha up and white as well. And add another black one so we can adjust the darkness of the eye. Let's make her eyes, I don't know, let's make it blue. Let's go with blue, I like blue. Excellent. Now, let's select a region and go rendered. Has to be vertical. Okay. Let's take this down a bit, that up a bit, so that there's enough brightness and darkness in the eye. A little bit lower. That's good. Take that a little bit higher so there's more color in the eye. Excellent. Now let's quickly make it more toon shaded. Let's reduce the brightness just a little bit. Intensity, sorry. Up that. Specularity has to be up on this one because we need that brightness spot since the eye is wet. There we go. Now we can up the intensity. Options, full oversampling, pass index 5, and receive transparent, no auto ray bias. Now if we render it like this, much better. Okay, let's quickly reposition the sun so we have a much better idea of what we're doing. Up there, and that should actually do. Let's render that out. That is awesome. That is seriously awesome. Okay, let's quickly fix the chin. I suggest adding shape keys for this process so that you don't have to destroy your model. So that if you mess up, you can just go back and fix it. Okay. Now, the chin needs to be a lot narrower. I don't mean just a little bit, I'm talking about a lot. Since the jaw is always on the ladies a lot more rounded over here and pointy at the bottom. Don't ask me why. It's the way I've seen it in the research and the reference and all those fun things. I think I have to use a different one. Let's go sharp. Sharp's much better. I like sharp. Sharp's awesome. A little bit more, a little bit less. Let's go a little bit higher, just a little bit. Okay. Let's see what that looks like when we render it out. That's good. I really like that. Okay, on the hair, you may have noticed that these lines do not quite fit the hairline, so we're going to quickly fix those. Oh, here, turn off proportional editing. A quick shortcut key for that is O, just pressing O. Turns it on and off. Only in edit mode, if I remember correctly. Let's see. If you press O. No, it works inside and out of edit mode. And last but not least on this side, we've got this one. Let's switch over to this side and stick this one all the way in. That looks awesome. Now for some eyelashes. Let's give it some eyelashes. Now this is what separates this technique from a few others. We literally change the material to produce the eyelashes. So let's turn that off. Let's just select this to make it nice and flat. Yep, that's correct. Turn on proportional editing. scale it along the z-axis with a lot lower influence, just so it's flat at the bottom. Or flatter. You don't have to make it completely flat, but it just needs to be flatter. That's good. If you want to, you can also sharpen the outer parts of the eye by going like this. Oh, that's actually necessary. Let's do that. Just take it down a bit. That looks cool. Okay. Now let's add some eyelashes. Assign that. And we're going down this way and that way. And we're going to do that and that. Selecting this, going there. It's not really specific, but this is very much a process that you have to decide what you want to do. I can't decide for you. I can lead you, but I can't force you to do it my way. Because this isn't really my way. God taught me how to do this, so I'm teaching you. Okay, let's take this down a little bit further. This is just a taste. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Okay, let's do that on the other side. This bottom selection, top selection. See how far? It's far enough. Far, also far enough. Select that one. Let's assign that before we mess it up. Skip 2. I constantly have to make sure that I'm not selecting too much. Because if you select too much, it looks too much. Just want to see how far this goes. Okay, it stops there. And then there's one more line up there. Just want to see how far it goes. Oh, it's only 2, not 3. Okay, let's take that out. Assign that. And that should be our basic eyelashes. Let's see what it looks like. Awesome! Now, of course, it will be a bit thicker when we turn on freestyle, which we're going to do right now. Almost at the bottom, you will find freestyle. You'll find absolute and relative. If you put it on relative, you can adjust this resolution setting and your line thickness will not change one bit. So I recommend doing that. Now going to your render layers. Go to the bottom and then you'll see freestyle line set. Freestyle here, it's just below the passes. You'll find the default line set if you add one. I'm not sure if it's there by default. As you can see, I have selected group as well. You don't need group in this instance. It's your choice if you want to. You can copy my settings. I use silhouette, border, contour, crease, edge mark. Edge mark is for when you mark a freestyle edge, you know, when Blender won't typically put one there. External contour and material boundary. Material boundary is for like here with the red and the white, and here with the black and the skin color. And of course, if you select group, you can isolate certain items within your scene. Now the thickness has to be 1.1 in this case, and we'll be taking out this curve modifier that I have on by default. Under strokes, chaining has to be plain. You have to use the same object, and on the cap, make it round so that when the line ends, it does not look sluggish or slobbish. It looks like you've cut corners. Okay, now if you render that, you should see a much better image. Wow, that's cool. I'm not going to reduce this lip shape over here. In this case, I think it's more appropriate that it stays. What I am going to do is I'm going to mark the edge just under the bottom line of the lip, mark a freestyle edge, and I'm going to mark the chin as well. Very small lines make a very big difference. If you want to, you can also add this line at the top of the eye. I'm going to add it. It's totally your personal preference whether you do or whether you don't. Sorry, just need to select the right lines. Goes all the way down, all the way down. That's good. Control E, mark freestyle edge, press tab. Now if you render again, you should see that little line there added. Wow, that's cool. She looks very mad. Grr. Okay, let's change the eyebrows. Eyebrows. Usually I like to make them a little bit thinner by doing this. Oh, sorry, fortunately it has to be off. Doing this, scaling it in, so it's just a little bit thinner, as you can see. Now if you press render, see it's a little bit thinner, it's not so prominent. Usually women have a slightly less prominent eyebrow. Okay, that looks really, really cool. Let's add some subdivision just to get those lines a bit smoother. Single subdivision is more than fine. We don't need to see it in 3D view. Same thing here. Don't need to see it. Let's put it on the outfit as well. I noticed that without it, the outfit looks a little bit underdone. So let's just quickly fix this collar. As you can see, it's rather hidden. So I just want to select these edges over here. Vertices. Let's take it out of Z. Oh dear, let's not take it out of Z. Z is for wireframe mode, by the way. Take that up, take that out, take that out, take that out, out. Move a little bit forward. No. Okay, and this a little bit up as well. That's better. Let's look at that. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Okay, now I recommend you save. I'm going to overwrite this old one, which did not come out so well. Actually, no, I'm going to use that as an example of how not to do it. Sure, that looks excellent. Wow, that's cool. Okay. Needless to say, my previous example did not come out that well. Okay, let's just change the angle on the camera a little bit. Move it over. Let's try something like that. Let's hit render and see what she looks like. That is fantastic. She looks very determined, not angry, just determined. Okay, excellent. Now we are going to use our rig so we can modify the teeth, the tongue, and the inside of the mouth. Now in order to see your full rig, you go over here after selecting your rig and you click on this little figure and you tick X-ray under the display options. Then you can see your whole rig. Now here behind the eyes, almost in line with the ears, you find these little two bones. The bottom one controls the chin. So scale that along, rotate it along its x-axis to open the mouth wide. There we go. And you should be able to see inside, just like a dentist. Let's add a different material here. Let's use the outfit, mark it, call it teeth. Oh, sorry, no apostrophe in the word teeth. Make it white. Call those pearly whites. And we're going to now hide everything that is not the teeth. And the rig too. Go into your modifiers so that it's edited according to the rig. Now we need to add a gum material as well, so that when we work with the teeth, they do not look weird. good. Oh, missed the spot. There we go. That looks great. Let's go to materials, add another one, select teeth, tab out, duplicate it, tab back in, call it gums, and let's make it like this pinkish red color. This time we can add some specularity. Let me just open that a little bit bigger. Intensity, about that will do. Smoothness off, size down. That's great. And hit assign. Stunning. Okay, now we need to modify the teeth, because in anime you don't typically see every single tooth. That's only in those weird vampire shows. So all you need to do is add a plane. See where it is. Rotate it along the x-axis. Pull it up to the teeth. The origin right there, so that when you scale it down it's already where you need it to be. You don't want to drag it around the scene. There we go, a little bit down, right there between the teeth. Okay, so you just place it in the middle of the teeth. Whether it's visible or not doesn't really make a difference, because we're going to use the teeth to model it anyway. So all you need to do is just scale that down to approximately the size of the two front teeth. Let's just rotate it to fit, wrong axis, sorry, and scale it out along the x-axis so that it fits both of the front teeth. Let's just rotate it a little bit more. That's perfect. Okay, divide it using a loop cut, Control R in tab, in edit mode, and we're going to need to scale this. Not scale it, move it up a little bit so that it aligns with the teeth. We don't want her to have a bucktooth type situation here. A little bit higher. There we go. Basically what we're aiming for is to create a solid tooth set, almost like a gum guard. Scale it out after you extrude it more and put it around those teeth over there. Since it's already rotated, it shouldn't be an issue in terms of the angle. And let's do that for one more. I've noticed in most of the art I've looked at that the solid part is only for these teeth over here. When it gets to the molars, there's almost like a transitional point. So don't make it one solid piece all around, otherwise it just looks like a mouth guard. Okay, now let's adjust these points, take them up a little bit, same for these. We are going to be making them slightly jagged, because I mean teeth are not flat at the front, there is some shape to them. Okay, let's just extrude this whole thing in. Extrude it on the Y. Let's take it in. That looks cool. A little bit higher. And a tad more forward. Scale it along the X. Take it forward again. Okay, let's deselect the front part and take in the back. Oh, sorry. Let's make these not selected. Okay, let's try that again. Now take it in, scale it down, and that should give us a more solid piece to work with. Let's take these down and make them just a little bit more flat. Okay, that is fantastic. Now, let's give some width to this. Grab it, move it over here. Add another one, move it over there. Again, same this side. I recommend only moving your final piece when you're ready to move everything at the same time, so that the jaggedness is fairly consistent. Okay, other side. If you want to, you can use a mirror modifier for this. I do not recommend it though. I've had some issues with it. But if it works for you, then absolutely go for it. Let's just add a loop cut over here as well, so we can just take this inside. So I have a more consistent gum line. Lip line in gums. Just give that a face. Oh, sorry, it already had a face. My bad. That's fantastic. Now it's time to create those parts. Take it down, see a little bit. And the same thing over here. Okay, make it smooth. Add the same teeth material. If you want to, you can tick double-sided. Doesn't really matter whether you do or whether you don't. A little bit. See, a little bit back. Rotate it slightly. A little bit forwards. That looks good. Now it's time to delete the original teeth. Just to mark them, I'm going to delete these central parts, and then I'm going to remove the teeth. The new teeth, that is. Let's remove that. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, sorry, my mistake. There you go. And by the way, that's not a problem with Blender selecting tools, it's a problem with me selecting them wrong. We don't want to remove all teeth. Let me just mention that so you don't erase your whole teeth line and then you only have that one solid piece in the middle. That is not going to look good. Only delete those you have marked for deletion. Don't go beyond that. Okay, let's delete these. Excellent. Now let's put it back. There we go. Basically you can duplicate this for the bottom. Just takes a few minor edits. About there. Let's take it down, stick it inside there. Let's rotate it a little bit out again. And let's take it in so that it fits nice and snug inside the gums. That's good. Okay, now all we need to do is just edit this a little bit. So what you can do is you can do that and this, and scale it on the x-axis, same with this one and that one, x-axis, this one, that one, x-axis. If you want to, you can pull it just a little bit forward. Same with this and this, x-axis, pull it forward, x-axis, it's good. Same again here, x-axis and forward, x-axis and forward. And slide x-axis again. Oh, wrong. Forward, x-axis and forward again. Let's just broaden this one a little bit and take it back. Okay. Now for the second to last one, and scale it on the X, bring it forward, scale it on the X, and bring it forward. Let's take it down a bit. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. In this case, you're welcome to use proportional editing. Okay. Just want this backwards and scale it on the X bit. That looks good. And now all we need to do is to pull this one back and to pull this one back as well. Let me just select it, sorry. And take it down a bit. Go individual origins and scale it down and see if it allows you to do that. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, deselect the top edges. See if it has. It has. Wonderful. Has to deselect these two. Okay. Sorry. And that one too. Now we can go into solid again and reduce the size on that. Fantastic. Let's just see on this side if there's a tattletale sign too. Median and take it in. Needs to be inside the gums. Okay. Now to just get these to cooperate a bit more, need that. Let's just take them forward a bit. Okay. I'm going to increase the influence so that it pulls with it. Okay, now that's good. Okay, we've got some teeth at the bottom too. Now let's erase those two. Okay, we're going to erase everything except for the first molar, since we have merged those. There's always some form of a transitional point when you're looking at the molars. Okay, let's add the second row of teeth. Second set of teeth, not rows. This is quite a lengthy process, but it's definitely worth it if you don't want to have to model everything on your own. If you struggle to model faces and all those other very difficult features, using Make Human as a base mesh to start from definitely reduces the time you need, unless you can model this type of thing from scratch within an hour. I can't. I'm sure it's practice though. Okay, and done. Let's add our teeth back. See, there we go. We have our bottom teeth, we have our upper teeth. Okay, now your question is probably, how in the world do we pair them? Simple, you have to, group them, or parent them, to whatever bone it is that they are going to be moved by. In this case, this one will be parented to this jawbone at the bottom, not this one. So we simply press Ctrl P, set parent to bone, not bone relative, just bone. Sorry about that. And the top one is connected to this top bone over here. You can parent that as well to bone. See now, if you rotate that on the x-axis, it rotates like that. But because this is these are parented to the neck bones like this, it'll move. See? Awesome. Same for the bottom one. See? Awesome. Okay, let's just call them what they are. Upper teeth and lower teeth. Let's turn everything back on, because now we need to add a material to the tongue, which we will use the gums material for. Let's call this tongue. It's usually a slightly lighter or darker shade, depends on who you ask, depends on the person. It's wonderful. Now let's remove this and the teeth. Where's the lower teeth and the upper teeth? I'm going to move those out. Now let's edit the inside of the mouth. So go into your modifier, make sure it's changed. And now select the inside of the mouth. Oh, sorry about that. I'm trying to select the right method. There we go. How close do we get to the... Oh no, not even close enough. Okay. Not even close. Let's see how that looks. It's great. Let's reduce one. Okay, add a new material. Call it gums. Click assign. And that is it, except for the back of the throat. Now if you want to, you can make this black. I don't see it being necessary, but you can. I think actually let's make it black. Sort of like a Muppet. Let's use the eyelash material since it's pitch black. And select these as well and make those the gums. Let's add a subdivision. Oh, it's already added, never mind. And let's add our other stuff back. Now if you were to render this, you would see that the teeth would form a solid line there. It's not that clear. You get the point. The point is that she is very, very surprised. Yes. Let's make her smile. See what that looks like. See if we need to remove that point. I don't think we need to. No, it's good. Let's leave it. It's kind of evil. Let's see if we can adjust that a bit. It's better. Also a little bit better. Not quite. Let's change this. See what that does. Oh, wait. Okay, let's see what that does for the face. Oh, that's much better. Now she doesn't look so evil. Okay, for the moment, let's just reduce the smile again to be about there. Let's not go crazy with that. See what happens if we do this. That's interesting. Let's see what that looks like. Let's keep it. I like it. Let's hit save. Oh, sorry. And go 3D view. Now for the fun part. We are going to give her a background. So I want you to deselect everything and make them non-selectable. As you can see now, if you go objects and you remove that, there is no way you're clicking on anything that pertains to her except the camera. And of course the sun, which I'm going to deselect as well. Now I want you to add anything you want to from different projects and stuff, so that you have just normal objects in your background, whether it be monkeys or cubes or whatever. So just add those and add them to this layer over here. See what we get. That's good. I like that. Okay, now let's simplify it. I want you to add freestyle again, but this time before you render again, I want you to add a new render layer. In case you've already set up freestyle, you call this or existing one freestyle and you name the new one background. The background contains all the scene information and no masking. The freestyle one only contains the foreground and masking for the background. And also the background does not need freestyle strands or edges in this case. It does need sky, it does need halo, it needs Z transparency, it needs solid, it needs the Z, it needs the vector, and it needs material index, but we're not going to be using these, so I'm going to leave that out. Let's go into 3D view and make sure that our sun is on a separate layer so that it affects everything. I usually put it on this layer over here. So if you select that, you'll see on the background it's selected, and on freestyle it's also selected. Okay, we don't need strand or edge or sky on the freestyle layer. Okay, that's wonderful. Save that and render. It takes a few seconds. Okay, going to the node editor. I'm just going to erase these ones that I've already set up for other uses. Sorry about that. Output, viewer, and of course composite. No alpha. Fantastic. Now let's go converter, ID mask, set that for 5. Now if you select that there, see, completely erased. Now we use this one slightly blurred over itself. 0.1 is usually enough. 0.12 is also okay. And you just add that over itself at a value of 30 and you clamp it. And you should have a thicker line. Let me quickly demonstrate to you what that means. Put that in the mix, take your original image, make this, see, now, see the outline? It needs to be slightly thicker, so let's make it 0.2. Yeah, 0.2 will work. Okay. In this case, this needs to be black. Okay, in the case of the bottom image, which needs to be a different render layer, background, the other one needs to be black. I'm going to show you why. Just give me a second. See, there can't be any white edges over here. If you dilate and erode to simplify the background, this will pop out. It just does not look good. So let me show you what that does. Let me just get the dilate and erode. Let's give it 2 steps. Now see what happens if I use the original mask. See, it creates this outline. You don't want that outline. You always want a clean image. So you want that. Okay, that's nice and simplified. Go into converter, use a color ramp, and set the white to 0.75 because we're going to screen the color over this black and white image. Color mix, take the original there and set it to screen. That's fantastic. We're going to slightly blur this. Again, 1.1 or 0.2, it's up to you. And now we're going to just up the saturation by 1.25. We can go higher. Let's go 1.3. 1.3 is fine. Now we simply need to mix this back using our original mix. Stick your image in there, just switch it around, there we go. Now you have your background and your image separated. This is simplified, looks slightly painted. I usually use just a single step, so it's not too simplified, and there you have it. What you can also do to just give that little bit of an edge more, you can add a slight blur just to soften the image. It's not necessary, but I just like to add it. About there, and a slight vignette too. Very slight. And that's as basic as it gets. Now you can use Make Human to make your own anime style characters. I hope this tutorial has been informative for you. I'm certainly happy God showed me how to do this. I hope you are able to apply this to your own projects. God bless.